Although I like the kid.
George Santos.
I hate the Avatar.
Live right now.
It's so fucking cringe. It makes my skin crawl. I don't know what it is about it.
You're making George cute.
They're gonna ask questions.
Alex, let's start with you. Tell me what was the worst moment in the Oscars, in case you even read or saw some clips of it, or anything that came up to you that you thought was interesting.
Oh, well, the worst part of the Oscars, definitely, other than Jimmy Kimmel. I have a whole thing with Jimmy Kimmel.
I love Jimmy Kimmel.
But other than that, was probably John Cena's Illuminati welcoming, where he had to go across the stage naked in order to make it into Hollywood. For all the pedos in the audience, so that was probably
crazy MAGA person.
Was hosting the entire show.
100%.
I hated that. That was disgusting. It was cringe. I don't know how anyone enjoyed that. I don't know how the audience cheered. I don't know who wrote that. But that was disgusting and awful, and just the most cringe.
I wonder what his favorite movie
you would
is.
assume that a show that is watched that starts at 7 p.m. Eastern time and literally 4 p.m. Pacific, you would assume people would remind themselves that children are watching, and you would keep your clothes on.
Even worse than that, though, isn't the Oscars like the creme de la creme? Like when I think the Oscars, I think like the opposite of like.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. You don't necessarily want a naked guy. Yeah.
Supposed to be black tie.
I like John Cena a lot, though. But
VMA move, wasn't it?
This is a valid point.
I don't know if it was quite a VMA move.
I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's valid.
I definitely will say it was quite disturbing, and I was a little distraught, although I gotta say his body was on point. A lot of us are probably seething with hate because we don't look like that naked. Just be very fucking
I would definitely take Cena's body over mine.
My forehead to look like that, but I also found it to be a little bit cringe. I'm not a big fan of John Cena. I think that he should have stuck to wrestling oily men rather than trying to make it movies, but I'm
about all his
the cringiest moment of the Oscars.
Charity.
Yeah, well, look, I'll say this. I watched some behind-the-scenes stuff, so now I learned something. Do you know all those glam poses that the celebrities make when they're, like, throwing their hair in slow motion and their dresses are just falling on perfect? Do you know, have you ever seen those clips and those reels that go around, Sarah?
I have. Is there a secret to it?
I didn't know how they were made. So apparently there's a little back, once you walk the carpet, then you go through, like, this place to cool down, and then there's this back room with this like really famous photographer. I don't know his
dropping
name,
knowledge here.
All the celebrities know him by first name basis, and he's been doing it for a while because I guess he created that. So I watched this clip from Ariana Grande where she comes, and yes, she had one last year where she's throwing her dress in the air and it's falling just perfect. It's kind of famous already. You've probably seen it around her with the big purple dress. She does look gorgeous. It does have like that very old Hollywood glam allure to it. So then I saw her do this year's, and then I understood. I was like, holy crap, that's how this is made. All right, so that was kind of interesting. I learned something new. Now I kind of know how they make themselves look so much grand, so grand with all these, little behind-the-scenes stuff. I never paid attention to it. But overall, I think, first of all, I think Barbie and Oppenheimer were going to dominate the whole evening. And then I just felt like there were some, almost charity Oscars given away because they didn't want that to happen between Oppenheimer and Barbie. But those are the best two movies of the season.
I didn't care for Oppenheimer.
You mean year?
I cared for Oppenheimer for its historical attributions to... tell me how many kids are going to go and try to discover the birth of the atomic bomb versus how many kids are going to sit and watch a 3-hour movie and learn everything almost they need to know. Not everything, but get a good grasp of history. I like movies that do that because not everybody is a...
I like movies like that too. But you judge an Oscar, the movie on its own rules.
Of television,
and
if there's a way to do it and engage kids, I'm all for it. I'm not going to sit here and say, kids should read this in books and learn in books. Those books must be fucking boring.
It was more about his life rather than the inception of the atomic bomb. I wish that it would have been more Manhattan Project and less Oppenheimer.
I liked it how it was.
Well, I agree, but I think they had to build... It's the day and age that you can't just throw a guy there without building the character.
Really?
People now know what kind of...
You have to build characters?
was a family guy, just like every other guy. He was a scientist, and then and it also teaches us a little bit of how the American people and government got screwed by collaborating with all the foreign scientists, and then all the leakage that happened across the world, and that's how a lot of nations have access to nuclear weapons as well, and what? Were able to start the nuclear arms.
What is he talking about? So that didn't happen.
All of that gets covered.
What?
And dude, they fucking covered Einstein. And how about the fact that I didn't realize Robert Downey Jr. was in the movie until the very last. He was.
Yeah, why does that not surprise me, George?
I couldn't recognize him.
So, do you know the most important character in that entire movie? Do you know who it was?
The bomb.
You think it was?
Well, the most important guy in the entire movie was the dude that pushed the button. And do you know, to like set off the test? Do you know who that was?
I have no clue.
Christopher
that was
Nolan?
Josh from Drake and Josh, the Nickelodeon show.
You're kidding.
No, he was the kid.
He's a grown-up.
He's not really this surprised. This is fake.
Remember,
he doesn't care. He probably doesn't even know who Josh is.
I
don't.
That, and I used to watch Drake and Josh, so that's.
I never watched
so
Drake and Josh.
We're sitting in the theater, and I was like, "That's Josh from Drake and Josh," and my husband went, "Shh."
That's funny.
But yeah, he's all grown up, and he was the one that pushed the button. Look at him.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Look at him go. But look, I gotta say, it was. I think the Oscars did charity Oscar giveaways, and I want to get Ginger Gates to comment on this since she's on the stage.
Hi, Ginger.
Ginger, darling, tell me if I'm wrong. Do you not feel that every single category that didn't go to Oppenheimer and Barbie was just charity to kind of break it up a little bit? Because that's how I felt.
I mean, I don't think you could start to break down the fairness of the Oscar awards this day and age. I will say, I mean, Barbie costume design, there is no way any other movie should have gotten a mention. It should have just been its own category, and maybe for different characters of Barbie. So that's my take on that.
That's exactly why I'm pointing it out, because the costume going to some rando movie that it wasn't Barbie, and that entire movie was, every little girl's childhood in the 90s, 80s, whenever you were playing with your Barbies, 70s, whatever. Because the detail, they brought back, flat foot Barbie, flipper Barbie, all of those old Barbies and stuff like that. There were so many references that as a boy, I don't know, but my sister's like, holy shit, I remember that Barbie. I'm like, you're kidding, that was an actual Barbie.
They were advertised on TV. Why wouldn't you remember them?
What's that Barbie friend that was discontinued? They had pregnant Barbie.
Kid sister.
I have to tell this story.
Kid
so
sister.
I saw the movie with Anna Paulina Luna while she was 8 months pregnant. And so when they kept making fun of Midge, I just looked over and I was like, I'm so sorry. I had the pregnant Barbie too. This is fine. You're all fine. But we were dying laughing about it.
You know what, though? I will say, you know what they forgot that even I noticed? They didn't have a Kelly character.
Yeah, Kelly was totally snubbed. But you know what, George? I am a huge Barbie collector, and I have a very large collection. Barbie is my favorite. And did you know that the original Barbie, if you still had her in the package, I mean, she's worth like $1 billion, right? And my mother had one for me, an original Barbie. She had it, and I opened her up when I was about 9, and my sister and I melted her in an easy bake oven.
That's awesome.
You're a fucking asshole.
I love that.
I guarantee you don't have all the Barbies.
Name one.
No.
I don't. I have a Kelly.
You don't have Barbie Ginger.
I don't have Barbie Ginger, but I do. I will.
How long have people with red hair been called gingers anyway? Like the past decade, maybe a little more. How's going on since Barbie days?
Then coming out with their version of Barbie athletic wear, Barbie this, Barbie. I mean, it totally just revved up on me. And by the way, I did not wear pink. It's just not really a color that looks great on me until the movie came out, and then all of a sudden, all the cutest trends, blazers.
Didn't I see you wear a whole pink suit after that?
That was my husband.
Okay, the people you're getting in there are all George people who he's gotten them blue check marks. That's it for tonight. Love ya. Bye.